Hello, little lights. Today, we are telling the amazing story of Elijah and the widow's miracle. God's wonderful provision. A long time ago, there was a man named Elijah. He was a prophet. That means he spoke messages from God. But during Elijah's time, something very sad happened. There was a great famine in the land. That means there was no rain, and without rain, food could not grow. The rivers dried up, the farms were brown, and many people didn't have anything to eat. Everyone was hungry, and life was very, very hard. God spoke to Elijah and said, "Go to a town called Zarephath. There you will meet a widow, and I have told her to give you food." So Elijah listened to God and started walking. He walked through the hot, dusty land. He walked past dry fields and thirsty trees, until finally he came to the gates of Zarephath. There, just like God said, Elijah saw a woman gathering sticks. She was a widow. Her husband had died and she was alone with her little son. They were very, very poor, and they had only a little bit of food left. Elijah called out to her kindly, "Would you please bring me some water, and also could you bring me a piece of bread?" The widow looked very sad. She said, "I have no bread left, only a little handful of flour in a jar and a little oil in a jug. I'm gathering sticks to make one last meal for me and my son. After that, we will have nothing left." Oh no, it sounded so scary. But Elijah smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. Go and make a small loaf of bread for me first, then make some for you and your son. God promises that your flour and oil will not run out until rain comes again." The widow listened and obeyed, even though it was hard to believe. She went inside and made a small piece of bread for Elijah. And guess what happened next? When she looked back at her jar of flour, there was more flour inside. When she looked at her jug of oil, there was more oil inside. Every day, the widow had enough to feed Elijah, herself, and her son. Day after day after day, the jar never became empty, and the jug never dried up, just like God promised. God can take care of us even when things seem impossible. When we trust Him and obey His words, He can do amazing miracles in our lives. No matter how little we have, when we trust God, He can make it more than enough. Who did Elijah meet at the city gates? A widow. What did the widow have left to eat? A little flour and a little oil. What did Elijah tell her to do? Make a small bread for him first. What miracle happened after she obeyed? The flour and oil never ran out. What can we learn from the widow? Trust and obey God even when it's hard. For more sweet Bible stories, don't forget to follow and subscribe on YouTube at Little Light Story, Instagram at Little Light Storytime, TikTok at Little Light Storytime. Click that like button, share with your friends. See you next time.